Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Iron Maiden reaction video, where tonight, ladies and gentlemen, in our darkest hour, ladies and gentlemen, it is time that we take the fight to the enemy. I wish I could have told you that I absolutely knew that entire speech. Well, not really speech, but rather the entire play word for word. The entire word for word, because for those who don't know, Darkest Hour is in reference to pretty much Winston Churchill down in the bunkers, and they were planning out what could have been the complete capture of the British Isles at the hands of Adolf Hitler. I don't remember necessarily if this was at the beginning of if this was leading up to the Battle of Britain, or whether or not this was in relation to D-Day, when we were ready to begin the European invasion and start taking the fight to the enemy. Because for those who know their history, and for those who know fine well a lot about the sort of more pseudo-political spectrums of the Second World War, and how, in spite of hard trying, that Adolf Hitler was putting out peacetime goods whilst they were in the middle of a long war, and that Churchill still was having to fight off political opposition at home. A lot of the popular discussion, and this is something that many people will certainly come back to, is that even if Britain was starting to come together during wartime, what on earth was it going to be like in peacetime? Would Churchill be able to govern when, peace is still in the air? And what do we even fight for in those times? It's a very... And bear in mind, Churchill was in his mid-60s by the time that he was made Prime Minister, especially into such a precarious situation. And it's funny as well, because a couple of months ago I finished reviewing the series The World at War, and I can't necessarily... Churchill does feature quite a lot in The World at War, but a lot of it seemed to be more about strategic fighting in very specific spots. And actually, to be honest, a lot of the show seemed to be focusing away from the British, and it focused a lot more on how Adolf Hitler governed a new Germany, how Germany was sort of coping throughout a war front. A lot about the Japanese, Pearl Harbor, the Americans, Operation Torch, Stalingrad, Leningrad. Which reminds me, have Iron Maiden ever done a song about Stalingrad? I'm sure them or Sabaton must have done some, because Stalingrad was one of the bloodiest and one of the most fiercely contested skirmishes throughout the Second World War. Probably nowhere near as violent or as vitriolic as Leningrad, because it very nearly completely evaporated the Soviet Union, despite the fact that the Soviet Union were now starting to fight against Hitler, fueled by nothing but spite and absolute mirth against the Germans. But that's besides the point. So let's get into our darkest hour, ladies and gentlemen, and let's go. We would like them on the beaches. So this must have been like... yeah.
swords. You sons of Albion, awake, defend this sacred land. Here I sit in a serenade of glory, naked by the throne of kings. You saw the wind, and now you're in the whirlwind. Before the dawn, the darkest hour, the darkest hour.
You sowed the wind and now you reap the whirlwind. That's one of the hardest lines of this album for sure, and I'm not gonna lie, I really liked it like that. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. That was Darkest Hour by Iron Maiden, and that's actually one of the more... Now we're sort of like getting back into a lot more songs about war, and a lot about... It's, well, not so much about war, but more about the actual being on the actual precipice of war. And it's a fascinating topic, ladies and gentlemen, and I think even if you want to take it away from talking about Churchill for 1 second, about his alcoholism, his chauvinism, the fact that he hates miners, both those who go to school and the ones that work underground. If you were to ignore the fact that he smoked like a chimney, he even by 1940s standards, he was overweight, and how he was. And Well, all I've got to say at this point, ladies and gentlemen, is quite frankly this. Even if we were to take away the aspects of like war for 1 second and how you don't necessarily I can sort of, you could almost interpret this as sort of, this is like the calm before the storm. It's like I mean, comparable to something that I can imagine. It's literally the very day before I was to sit like my A levels, my GCSEs, my SATs, any occasion, ladies and gentlemen, that was that basically I had to face. Any like huge moments in my life that there was no denying, ladies and gentlemen, that I had to face, and I had to stand up like a man. Those sorts of occasions will stay with you forever, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll tell you why they will. It's because, live or die, you will die fighting. You will not roll over and play dead just because things are difficult. If anything, I wish there was like some sort of magic gene or some sort of influence out there, ladies and gentlemen, that really did say to me, this is going to be the very last day you live, so what are you going to do about it then, sir? Are you going to die shriveling and being a coward, or are you going to die on your feet, and are you going to die knowing that you fought to the bitter end for what you know and for who you are? Don't wait until you feel comfortable. Don't wait until you have it all figured out. Don't wait until you retire. Don't wait until everything is perfect. Don't wait until you have the approval of others. Our time here is finite. You don't want to run out of time, ladies and gentlemen, and be filled with what ifs and serious regrets that you will spend another lifetime pondering over and over again in your mind. This is your precious one. This is your precious time, ladies and gentlemen. So spend your time cultivating friendships, relationships, loved ones, memories. Cultivate it for no one else but yourself and you alone. Knowing who you are, what you want, how are you going to get there, what are you going to do when you get there, so you can live your life to the fullest. You are worthy, and your life today is the something special. This is your D-Day, ladies and gentlemen. This is your time to go on the attack. This is your time to strike from the grave. You, ladies and gentlemen, you out there, you were the ones who sowed the wind, and now we will all reap the whirlwind. I told you I liked that line. So with all that being said and done, I hope each and every one of you have enjoyed Darkest Hour by Iron Maiden, and I cannot wait to see all of you guys again in the next video. So take care, and bye-bye for now.